guys, Teddy here, and today we're gonna talk about the release date of Nintendo Switch 2. So pretty much when Nintendo came out the first time, it was such a popular console, mostly because of the design and the fact that you can travel with it so much easier compared to a regular PlayStation. I am literally the only person from our friends group that didn't got a Nintendo Switch, and the only reason was that I'm not that big of a video game player. Let's just say that yes, I do play for fun from time to time, mostly when we are meeting together, but I'm not that interested. I decided to invest my money in something else. But the games I would play the most, I believe it was Smash Bros. Also, my friends were playing Splatoon, some of them got Zelda. So pretty much there are tons of games when it comes to playing Nintendo. Was I a good player? No, I never claimed to be. I was terrible. Most of the characters that I played on Smash Bros. Were either Pichu or Pikachu. Sometimes I tried Kirby. I don't know what their special attacks are or pretty much anything. But at least I was having fun, even though they beat me every single time. But now we're getting a second version on Nintendo at some point this year, so let's see what we know about it. One of the most important questions when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 is when it will be released and how much it will cost. So, all Nintendo has said regarding the Switch 2 release date is it will arrive in 2025. But when in this year isn't clear. There is a Nintendo Direct on April 2nd where the company will share more details about the Nintendo Switch 2. So from that we know the Nintendo Switch won't arrive before April. However, with hands-on sessions at select locations for Nintendo account holders, we would predict the Switch 2 might arrive in May at the earliest. Other reasonable release windows would be around September time, letting people have the time to pick it up as a gift for the holiday season. In terms of price, we're completely in the release of speculation. The original Switch started at $259.99 and the Nintendo Switch OLED launched at $349.99. With the more powerful hardware and the cost of chips having increased since 2017, there's scope for the Nintendo Switch 2 to be higher than the asking price of its predecessor. So yes, a lot of prices not only on technology, just in general, have increased from 2017, maybe I should say in the past 3 to 4 years. So it's very likable for the Nintendo also to increase its price. But let's see, if compared to the iPhone or other devices, they haven't increased the price, they just keep the same price. So maybe it depends on the fact that it's a gaming console and also maybe about all the games that it can support. Let's talk about the design a little bit. We all know how a regular Switch looks like. You have the Joy-Cons, you have the screen, you can connect it obviously to a TV and you can play with it. This is where we play the most. Also with a few Nintendo Switches we can play up to more people. What the Nintendo Switch design will look like? So ultimately the Nintendo Switch 2 looks a lot like the original Switch, only larger. There is no word on exact dimensions, but it looks like it could have a larger display than the Switch OLED 7-inch panel and bigger overall footprint. As a result, the Joy-Cons appear to be taller and also more curvaceous. They've dropped the prominent blue and red colors of their predecessors. Through the left joystick has a blue accent and the right one has an orange accent. The buttons and their layout are the same as before, but there is now a new square button on the right Joy-Con. Through what it does is a mystery. Rather than slide and lock in place like the Joy-Con did on the original Switch, the ones for the Switch 2 appear to snap onto place via what could be magnets. There are buttons below the Joy-Con triggers to appear to use a piston-like system to push out and release the Joy-Cons when they need to be detached. Speaking of which, they are detached if they look to have the same overall functionality as the original Joy-Con with SL and SR button. Only the video hints at some form at a laser sensor and shows Joy-Con moving around with their strap attachment in a mouse-like way, all of which suggests that the controllers could be used as a form of computer mouse. So pretty much the design will look the same as the previous. Yeah, maybe it will be a little bit larger, maybe they have to do some difference, copy the homework, just change it a little bit so the teacher will notice exactly what they're doing. They're copying from themselves, changing it a little bit so all the users of the Nintendo have a reason to buy the new one. Maybe they'll change the graphics a little bit, which we'll talk about in a minute, and they're gonna call it a day. Let's see what else we know about the design apart the colors and the display. So going back to the Switch itself, there's what appears to be a few nips and tucks to the design of the power and volume buttons, and the ventilation growl now has 3 instead of 5 vents. The biggest difference to the top edge of the console is the addition of a USB-C port. What it's for remains unclear, but we suspect it could offer a means for more peripheral connectivity as well as charging from the top of the console rather than the bottom. Speaking of that, on the bottom edge of the Switch 2, there new downward firing speakers, which should offer an audio boost. There is also a new kickstand that, like the one on the Switch OLED, runs the length of the console, but it's hollow rather than the single panel. It looks to be more solid than the punny shifter-like kickstand on the original Switch, and it looks like it could log into several positions. So what exactly will happen with the Nintendo Switch? Will it look more like the OLED, the regular? What the color scheme will be? Well, we have to wait to find out, but I'm pretty sure they will come up with something. One of the most important things when you're buying a Nintendo Switch is about the display, because after all, this is where you see the games, and if they have a better resolution, higher quality, of course the games are more enjoyable. So what will be the display on the Nintendo Switch 2? So Nintendo hasn't revealed any details about the Switch second display, but the video shows it's a bigger than of the original Switch and has much slimmer bezels. It's hard to tell if the display size will be bigger than the Switch OLEDs, but we reckon there is a good chance it could come in at around 7.4 inches like Valve's Steam Deck. There is no word on the panel the Switch 2 display will use. In the video it's hard to tell if it's an LCD or an OLED display. We're hoping for the latter, as the colors and the contrast of an OLED panel is much more punchy, though overall the Switch LCD display is far from bad. We'd also like to see a bump in the resolution from 720p to 1080p for a display, but Nintendo hasn't shed any light on that. A jump to a full HD resolution would make games a good bit sharper, and with a modern chipset might not be asking for large chunks of performance in return. There has been some speculation on a higher refresh rate, but for games that might end up targeting 60 frames per second, the need for a display that refresh at say 120Hz might not make a lot of sense. I haven't checked actually what is the resolution of the display, because probably we were playing it on TV all the time that it didn't matter to me the most, but definitely if I play a single game like playing all by myself, definitely would make a difference. So since now even Volsk can shoot for maybe 8K, 1080p for a Nintendo Switch might not be that bad as an upgrade. These are the specifications of the second Nintendo, so what they will be. So, as mentioned, Nintendo hasn't mentioned any official specs for the Switch 2. Being a second generation machine, we can assume a decent uptick in a raw processing power and graphics rendering, and we'll be surprised if Nintendo didn't use an NVIDIA system on a chip for its processor and graphics. Rumors and report from our sibling publication Dom's Hardware notes the Switch 2 could run a chipset with an 8-core Cortex A78AE processor, 8GB of RAM and 64GB of internal eMMC storage. There has been plenty of speculation and rumors around the Switch 2 having hardware to support artificial intelligence, powered upscaling, potentially via NVIDIA's deep learning super sampling DLSS tech. Such upscaling could apply to games in handled more or work in tandem with more power being piped to the Switch 2 when it's docked to provide upscaling on the like of the best 4K TVs. Supporting DLSS would likely need custom hardware from NVIDIA, but given the vast popularity of the Switch, Nintendo certainly has the scope to work with NVIDIA's on a Switch 2 specific chipset rather than an off-the-shelf component. Ideally, we'd like to see the Switch 2's dock support the latest HDMI standards and be compatible with TVs that can support variable refresh rates so that the latest TVs can get the most out of the Switch 2. So yes, you can connect it to a 4K TV. Maybe there will be some updates to the NVIDIA's chipset if they're using one. So pretty much we know some information, but of course, again, rumors and leaks. Some things come true, others don't. So what exactly will happen? We have to wait to see when it's finally finished and ready to be sold. Okay guys, that was the video. Hope you enjoyed. Comment down below if you have a Nintendo Switch, what is your favorite game to play? As I said, we used to play a lot of Smash Bros. Now, we don't play that many video games before, but from time to time we do get back to it. Also, will I ever get a Nintendo Switch? Probably no. I like video games, but let's just say that I don't play that much. I have only one video game, and that is the Formula 1 2019 edition. I literally bought it for a PC, mostly because I don't have absolutely any console. For me to buy one, I need to be investing my time in video games, you know, to play a lot, to get better. But I'm not into video games as much as other people, so I decided that I'm not gonna spend my money on that. But if there is a tiny chance, if the Nintendo Switch is so good that people are always talking about it, I might end up getting one. But probably I won't. But that'll be the video. Hope you enjoyed. Please smash that like button if you like this video, share with friends. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, turn on the bell so you'll be notified whenever I post new videos, and I'm gonna see you next time. Bye.